Hi Mudhu, thanks for being here today with us and
Yes,
looking forward for your presentation. So I
yes.
would let you to carry on.
Okay. I would just like to know if everybody can see the screen, the PowerPoint. Okay. Hello everyone. First, I would like to say thank you for giving me this opportunity to present in this session, and I would like to take you today on a short journey through two powerful ideas from philosophy that I am very interested in. And those two ideas are firstly Amor Fati, and the second one would be logotherapy. These concepts come from a very different traditions. The first one, Amor Fati, comes from Stoic and Nietzschean thought. The other from Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist, his existential psychology. Yet they converge beautifully in how they help us find meaning in suffering or undergoing extreme circumstances in life, and help in embracing life fully, both the good and the bad, which will be the central theme of my presentation today. So let's start with what is Amor Fati. And Amor Fati is a Latin phrase that means love of fate. It was made mainstream by a German philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche. Amor fati is not just about accepting what happens to us, it's about loving what happens to us, both good and bad. Friedrich Nietzsche is famous for saying, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati," that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity, not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it. This idea was radical in Friedrich Nietzsche's time, which is over 150 years back. And even 150 years after, it is still considered radical. Reason being, reason being, it asks us not just to accept suffering in life for what it is, but to embrace it as part of our path to achieving something in life. To see every challenge, every loss, every twist of fate as something necessary. That's how he puts it. And even beautiful in shaping who we are currently and who we will eventually become in the future. Let's move on to Friedrich Nietzsche's view on what suffering is, his definition of suffering. Friedrich Nietzsche believed that suffering is not a weakness, but a gateway to becoming stronger. He wrote, and I quote, "To live is to suffer, to survive is to find meaning in the suffering." In his view, pain is not something to be avoided, it's a teacher. It's a fire that forges us and then to overcome adversity. When we stop resisting hardship and instead ask, what is this trying to teach me? What is that suffering or that experience trying to teach me? We begin to transform. That's when he says we begin to transform. So Friedrich Nietzsche's concept of amor fati, or even the very closely related concept of overman, is someone who rises above suffering, who uses this adversity as fuel or motivation to achieve something great, not just ordinary but great. Now let's just move on to the practical application of amor fati. We will have to first answer, how is it that we practice amor fati in daily life? Personally, I think it starts with a shift in mindset. For example, instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" we ask, "How can I grow from this?" Whether it's a ordinary issues we face in life, being traffic jams or issues in relationships in life, which is a bit more serious, or a health challenge, Amor Fati invites us to say yes. It invites us to say yes and not just give up. It also says this too is part of my path. I will love it and I will learn from it. It's important to note that Amor Fati does not ask us to passively accept whatever comes our way. In fact, it asks us to actively think of whatever problem it is we're facing and act on it in a way that not only fixes that issue, but you learn something from it. And that learning is what will pave the path to greatness. And as another famous author, Ryan Holiday, famously puts it, there is no bad event, there is only fuel. Fuel meaning energy source to drive us to do great things. Now let's move on to logotherapy. And the reason I chose logotherapy for presentation today is because it's a nice overlap with the concept of Amor Fati, and it's a closely interrelated concept also. This concept, however, was developed about 100 years after Friedrich Nietzsche's time by a person called Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was a psychiatrist by profession. He is famous for being known as a Holocaust survivor, one among many. And he endured unimaginable suffering in concentration camps during World War II in Germany. So during this suffering, he discovered something profound. As he says, even the worst conditions of a concentration camp or any other situation, we can choose our attitude, an attitude that we adopt when facing that issue. Logotherapy is based on the idea that our deepest drive is not to seek pleasure or to seek power, but to find meaning in whatever we do in life. Viktor Frankl called it will to meaning. He believed that life has meaning under all circumstances, even when we are undergoing suffering. Let's have a look at Viktor Frankl's experience through his writings, especially his famous book, Man's Search for Meaning. So Viktor Frankl in this book shares how prisoners who found meaning even in suffering were more likely to survive that harsh experience. He wrote, and I quote, "Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." And I emphasize the word choose. Viktor Frankl found meaning even in the suffering of the camps. He saw that those who had a why to live could bear almost any adversity. This is the essence of the concept of logotherapy, that meaning is not something we wait for, it's something that we create, even in the most difficult of situations. Now let's move on to the core principles of logotherapy. Logotherapy rests on three core ideas. First would be the freedom of will. We are free to choose our response to any situation, good or bad. Second would be will to meaning. Our deepest motivation is to find purpose in anything we do. Third would be meaning of life. Life always has meaning, even in suffering. Meaning can be discovered in three ways: through creative work, through experiencing love or something, or beauty, and through the attitude we adopt when we are facing suffering. techniques that logotherapy offers can help us find that meaning. One would be dereflection, which is a shifting focus away from problems and towards purpose. Another is a paradoxical intention, confronting fears by exaggerating them, often without humor or laugh. And finally, Socratic dialogue, which is a very common teaching method used in law schools, which is why I've stated this, is because it's a concept that forces you to ask deep questions to uncover truths, especially personal truths. These techniques help us move on from despair, which is a normal human reaction when we are faced with adversity, towards finding direction to fix that adversity. Or to put it another way, from confusion through adversity, from confusion that's a result of facing adversity to finding clarity and eventually resolving that problem. Now, let's just look at Amor Fati and logotherapy together. Amor Fati teaches us to love our faith, to embrace everything that happens. Logotherapy teaches us to find meaning in everything, even suffering. Together, they offer a powerful philosophy that life is not about avoiding pain, but about transforming that pain into something that we can use to achieve greatness. That every moment, joyful or painful, is an opportunity to grow. That is a powerful shift in mindset. When we live our faith and seek meaning in it, we become resilient, purposeful, and free from the shackles of despair. Moving on to the personal reflection. For me, these ideas have been quite transformative. In moments of uncertainty, there's always a way of me finding strength by asking, what is the meaning in the suffering? How can I love this moment, even if it's difficult? Amor Fati and logotherapy have helped me shift from resisting any change or resisting any ideas that have been given to me when I'm faced with suffering, to accepting it and implementing it. And more often than not, I have fixed quite a lot of my problems through this acceptance. And thus, I invite you to reflect what challenges in your life might be a calling for you to grow, what pain might be pointing you towards some new purpose in life. And that would nicely lead me to my closing thoughts for today. I'll end with two quotes that beautifully capture today's message, my message to you. First would be from Friedrich Nietzsche. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. And the second one from Viktor Frankl. When we are no longer able to change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. So with that, I would like to thank you for listening in today, and I hope these ideas offer you strength, clarity, and peace on your journey. Thank you. Anybody has any questions, any sharing, feel free.
Nice, Muthu. Actually, I like the concepts which you have said. It's been like many of the concepts have to put in practice to make one as a very strong person, or to showcase ourselves as a very strong personality. Specifically, when we say personality, we will have to fine tune how we are, how how others see us, and how we present ourselves in terms of in times of worst situations, in times of where we don't want to be there, but still when we were present at places. These kind of things has given like much visibility, like how to handle things at tough situations, how to mold ourselves better. I like these ideas. This is really good. Yeah. Thanks, Muthu.
Thank you. In, in,
Thank you so much, Muthu, first of all, for coming up and delivering us this wonderful message. Both the concepts were mind blowing, and I would say it's pretty new for me, even though, of course, the concept that we heard in Tamil many of the times, like they say, um, Ellam Nanmaike, which is like all is well, and so, which is, I would say, it's similar to logotherapy, if I am not wrong. So try to finding the best out of anything that we are encountering. That really made sense to me because most of the times when we see our life itself, only the difficult moments that we experienced would really help us to evolve further, would help us to, you know, get the learnings and move further to become a better version from the current one, whichever we are. So, yeah, with that point, I'm really aligning with. And of course, the second one, Amor Fati, just love everything, irrespective of anything, as we've been always kept on seeing. Even Bhagavad Gita or anything that we take, for example, everything is us, and who is listening to you or speaking now, or the things around us. Everything is us. So there is no need of showing any hatred or jealousness or anything else, because we do that, we are doing to our own self. So better show love rather than um, showing something else. So yeah, thank you so much for these two wonderful things.
very happy. I would also like to add on to Arpuda's comments. It is important that we say all is well, but at the same time, I think Amor Fati really drives us to look at the positives even in that suffering. A very good example would be Edison, who invented the light bulb. His factory, in fact, the first factory, burned down in a great fire, and people who worked for him were panicking, but he was the only one not to panic. This is a famous story. Although many people think it may have been made up, but the story goes like this: it was burned down, and he was the only one to not have any panic, and he in fact said, "Let's reinvent again. Let's start over again." In fact, because many of the things that got burned down in that factory were just failed experiments. So it was a fresh start. That fire itself, although it was a huge loss of money, would drive or would give him the chance to start afresh. And it was through that new start, that fresh start, that eventually he experimented on the light bulb that functioned. If that had not been the case and he was stuck to the old ways of working in the old factory, he would not have had the massive impact or would not have even invented light bulbs to the extent that we have it today. So the massive change in technology had to have that effect, had to have that huge loss on his part. But his acceptance of that loss is not something that's the end of his career, but in fact a new beginning to his career. Is, I think, the powerful shift or the very good example in the way you should look at things. Although it's major, almost 10-20 years worth of work gone up in flames, for him it was just a beginning to another 30-40 years worth of work that will have a lot more impact than the last 20 years did.
Wow. Hi, Muthu. Some amazing example that you got there. Firstly, I think the the very way that you presented in itself was very, I think, very catchy, I guess, because it was literally like an actual presentation, but a very very short version. You were able to do like the proper, like the introduction, conclusion, final thoughts, and everything, but just within 10 minutes. So that was nice. Uh, that was really nice because even we could hear what you had on that topic. So what were you thinking about it? Also, the way you joined Amarpati and logotherapy also, because one literally slid into the other, like you said. But yeah, I think you have been following it for quite a while, I guess, or you've been known about this. Yeah, because I don't know, I'm never able to find any connection like that. Uh, so that was very nice. Also, I think I was a bit not. I can't say shocked. I think I was very intrigued by the way the thought process was like forget about the happy things and all happy things, you always think about it, but the sad bits, all the painful bits, take them, spend your 100% time on that bit. Don't think about, I mean of course you're going to think about it, but then spend your energy thinking about the sad bits and working your way through, and then you know I don't know, maybe go towards 100% of happiness or something like that. uh, I don't think they said that, but I think I felt that when the topic went on. I think I was a bit also like many people I felt stop at a point where they see this looming dense sadness like a pit, and they feel like they can never come out of it. And though logotherapy or this thing, they say, think about this bit, I think through the process somewhere they get lost, and then instead of going upwards they spiral downwards. So I think these therapeutic techniques that they are talking, that you have mentioned here, maybe we look into a bit more on that. People can actually get some real benefit out of logotherapy. That's what I thought.
Yes. Well said. Again, thank you guys. Thank you. Amazing sharing.
Okay. So once again, thanks, Muthu. That is, if the sharings are done, then maybe probably we'll wind up the session for today.
Okay. Have a good weekend.
Good night. Have a nice weekend.